Back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful block blanket. It's only 4 stitches per pattern. It's really soft. It's got this elongated stitch here and it goes right through to the other side. You can have it any way up that you want. It's really pretty and the pattern is on both sides. Totally reversible and so pretty. Look at that. So I'm going to show you how to make this blanket. It's a 1 row repeat and it'll have this really pretty stitch on it. And you can do this. You will be able to do it. So I'm going to start with a chain and do a slip knot. Now you can use any yarn that you want for this little blanket. It's a lovely stitch and it makes fantastic blankets for babies and for adults. So I'm just going to do myself a chain. So I'm going to use a UK treble crochet. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet. I'm going into the 3rd stitch in the chain. So yarn over and go into the 3rd stitch in the chain, and you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Yarn over and into the next stitch all the way along to the end of the row. And make sure you've got sets of 4. If you don't, you can use your tail end to make some extra stitches. If you've got too many, you can just pick them out from here. So I'll do that, you do yours, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Now I've done my little sample and I've counted them in sets of 4, but I'm 1 short. Happens all the time when you try to count the stitch count. But what I do is I'm going to take the tail, move that one out of the way. Now this is my tail. I'm going to create 1 more stitch with this tail end. I'm going to go into the very first stitch. Go into the very first stitch in this chain, and I'm going to pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to create 1 more stitch. Just pull, yarn over again and pull it right through to close that off, and I've made myself an extra stitch that I need to complete all my sets of 4. So I'm going into that stitch and I'm going to do my last treble crochet and just tighten off that tail end. Now that's what I do instead of doing a stitch count. I don't count the stitches, I just do the chain to the length that I want. I check it with my sets of 4. I've not got enough, I use the tail and I'll add some more. If I've got too many, I'll just unpick it, and that's what I do. So I've got my first row done, my first row of treble crochets on my sample. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 and turn. Now into the next stitch, not the one right at the bottom of the chain, into the next stitch I'm going to do 1 treble crochet. Now the start of the pattern, so the start of this, you'll have that counts, that chain of 3 counts as a treble crochet, and you've got 1 here. So you'll have 2 always at the beginning, and we'll have 2 treble crochets at the end. So that makes up 1 set of 4. The rest of the 4s in there will be for the pattern. So what we're going to do now is, this is what we're going to repeat over and over and over for every row. Skip the next stitch, and then into the next 3 stitches you'll put 1 treble crochet. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. So skip the first stitch, skip that stitch and do a treble crochet into that stitch, 1 into the next one. We're going to do 3, and one into the next stitch. So that's us used, this is where the 4 comes in the pattern. We've got that skipped stitch and those 3, that makes 4. And that is your pattern stitch, it's 4. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to that skipped stitch. Remember we skipped a stitch, you're going to go back to it. Wrap your yarn around your hook and go back to the space, the top of that skipped stitch. Go right through the stitch, catch the yarn and pull it through that stitch. Now what it does is it gives you a double loop, 2 threads here, and you will have 2 threads on that side, and that's what makes this reversible. Put your yarn over, come through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and what it does is it makes that little extended stitch. It's made up of 2 strands of your yarn, and it does it on that side as well, so it makes your blanket completely reversible. We'll do that again. The one thing you have to make sure is don't work that stitch again because it pulls that 3rd stitch over a bit. Make sure you don't use that one again, it's got a stitch in it. We're going to skip that stitch and work the next 3. So skip that next stitch, make sure it's an empty stitch, and then do a treble crochet in the next one, a treble crochet into the next one, that's 2, a treble crochet into the next, that's 3, and we're going to go back to that skip stitch, yarn over and just go all the way back right through to the other side, pull your yarn right through there, give it a little wriggle and then finish your stitch, yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and that gives you your next one. Look at that, it's really pretty, and that's all you keep repeating. You just keep repeating that all the time. So that one has a stitch in it, there's the stitch there, so we're going to skip that one and work these 3. So if you're in the USA, this is a double crochet. Skip that one and go into the next stitch. We'll do your next block, that's 1, into the next stitch, that's 2, into the next stitch, and that is 3. Yarn over and go back to that skip stitch. Make sure you don't go into that one, you can see the stitch there, we're going into this one here. So right through to the other end, pull your yarn right through, wriggle it up, catch your yarn, come through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and there we go. We're going to do that all the way to the end. When you get to the end you should have 2 stitches left. We're just going to do 2 treble crochets, so skip a stitch and do 3 treble crochets, 1 into each of the next 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, yarn over, and we're going back to that skip stitch. Make sure you don't use that one, you can see the stitch in there, that one there. Right through to the other end, catch your yarn and pull it right through, wriggle it up, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, skip a stitch. We'll do 3 treble crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Get some yarn out my ball. You're going to put your yarn over and go back to that missed stitch right beside that one that you did there, right through, pull your yarn through, wriggle it up and come through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and that's what it looks like. It's really pretty. So I'm doing my last yarn over and going into that. I'm doing that last stitch. So that's the last one of my pattern, and I've got 2 stitches left. One at the top of that chain that we missed at the beginning, and one in here. You're going to do a treble crochet into the last 2 stitches. So one into that one and one into the top of that chain of 3. So you'll always have 2 treble crochets on this side, and you'll always have 2 on this side, and your pattern is in the middle. Look at that, it's really pretty, really easy. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're just going to repeat that. So we're not going to go into that stitch, we're going into the next stitch. That one belongs to the chain. So we're going to do a treble crochet into that stitch there. Skip the next stitch. Now here is your block that you're going to be working with. 1, 2, 3 and 4. You're going to skip that stitch and work these 3 and then go back to that skip stitch. So skip that next stitch and do a treble crochet into that stitch. That's 1, 1 into the next stitch is 2, 1 into the next stitch is 3. Now there's the stitch that we skipped there. Yarn over, right through, pull your yarn, wriggle it up, make sure you wriggle it up so it's not tight, and we're going to go through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops. You're going to skip that one and work these 3. Work the next 3, skip that one and 1 treble, your second one and your third one. We're going back to that stitch there, yarn over, right through, pull your yarn back, give it a little wriggle, through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And this is what it looks like this. You just keep going as tall as you want your blanket to be. So we'll skip that one and work the next 3. 1, 2 and 3. Yarn over, go back to your skipped stitch, right through to the back, pull the yarn all the way through, yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And this is how it looks. You've got your lines on this side and on this side, and it's really pretty. So I've done my last block and I've got 2 stitches left, and I'm just going to do a treble crochet in each of those stitches. So your second one will go into the top of your chain of 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and turn. So that chain counts as your first treble crochet. So you'll do a treble crochet into the next stitch, and then we'll start the pattern again, and then you'll start your blocks. Do your little blocks all the way along, and then you'll do your 2 trebles at the end. So I'm going to do a few more rows of this pretty blue, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and I'll show you my big yellow blanket that I've made in a lemon colour. I'll show you that in a few minutes. A few more rows of my little sample, and the last row I done, I just did a row of treble crochets across the top, just to keep it in line with the bottom one. Now I'm going to show you the little peaks that I did with that yellow one that I've showed you. What I did was, I'm going to skip this very last treble that I did, and into this next space we're working down the side of the blanket. Now just you imagine you've got a nice long edge and you've made your blanket really big, I'm going to put into this space, I'm going to put 3 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and another 3 treble crochets into that space. 1, 2, and 3. Now into the next space, these are the chains that we did up the edge. I'm just going to do a double crochet into there. Into the next one, I'm going to make my next peak. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and do 3 more into that same space. So we're going to make these little peaked shells around, or you can call, I don't know what you want to call them, a shell or a fan, but it's a little peak that's going to be on it. That's 1, 2, and 3. You're going to do this all the way down the side. Into this one, a double crochet. Into the next one, we'll do another peak. So that's 1 treble crochet, that's 2, and 3. Chain 2, and then do another 3. 1, 2, and 3. Double crochet into the next space. Into the next one, we're doing a peak, then we'll do a double crochet and we'll do a peak right into this corner one. So 3 treble crochets into this one, 2 chain, and 3 treble crochets. Chain 2 and put another 3 treble crochets in. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to put a double crochet into that next space, and then I'm going to do a peak that's going to take me right around this corner here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, give it a little turn. So what I'm going to do is into the next space, I'm going to put the other 3 of that peak into that corner. 1, 2, and 3. So along this edge here, it's all treble crochets. So into the next space, I'm going to do my double crochet, and that'll pull that peak down onto the corner like that. And this is what it's looking like. It's really pretty. These little peaks are really pretty on little pointed shells or fan. They're fans or shells. It's just whatever anyone wants to actually call them. So going along the treble crochet line. Now remembering that each section is 4. So what we're going to do is, I've got these spaces here. This next space, I'm going to put my peak in. I'll put my peak into this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, and 2, and then do my other 3. 1, 2, and 3. Treble crochets. If you're in the USA or another country, this is a double crochet. I'm going to skip a space, and then into the next space I'm going to do my double crochet. I'm going to skip a space and then do my peak. I'll skip a space and do a double crochet. Skip one, do a peak, skip one and double crochet, and that should take up that block of 4. So skip one space and I'm going to do my little peek into this next one. We'll see what it looks like. That's 3, chain 2, and then do another 3 into that same space. 1, 2, and 3. We'll just make sure it's not too crowded. Skip a space, double crochet, skip a space, and do another peak. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and do another 3 treble crochets into that same space. Then it'll be skip 1, double crochet, skip 1, and then do a peak. And this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have a little peak above each of your lines like this, and it should match up the same at this side. You should have peaks on these ones here, the same as we've got here on this one. But this is really pretty, and you'll just work your way around your blanket. Now remember that this is just a sample. This is just a sample that I've done, and that's what it'll look like. What I'll do is I'll work right around. Little peaks are nice. So you'll just work that all the way around your whole blanket once you've got your blanket really big. You can make your blanket really long on this side and then turn it that way. That's what I did with that lemon one that I showed you at the beginning. I'll show you that again just in a few minutes. And I turned mine that way. And to get it to go up and down the way, just do your chain longer and then turn it that way once you've finished your rows, or you can have it going that way. So it is quite a very versatile stitch as well. And then I've done my peak on it. I'll show you the peaks on the lemon one. It's the same peak and I did it the same way. So I'll get my yellow one and I'll show you the lemon. Sorry, it's not yellow, it's lemon. It's a really beautiful one. Now this yarn is a Aldi yarn. It's an Aldi yarn, and it was in a pack of 4 for £3.49, and that is excellent value. The lemon one was 99 pence a ball from Home Bargains. So you can use expensive yarn and you can use cheap yarn as well. It's up to you, and look at that. It turns out absolutely beautiful regardless of whatever yarn that you use. You can use really thick yarn as well if you want. Just use a bigger hook. Use the same size. Use the hook that it tells you on the label. But this didn't have it on the label. So I used my 4.5. I'll show if we can see that. It's a 4.5, a UK 4.5 millimeter. And if you're in another country, then if you just Google it, what a 4.5 millimeter hook is in the USA, then I'm not sure if it's an I. I don't think it is. It may be an H. I'm not sure. But you can Google it and find out and see what the size hook is in your country. So I'll get my yellow one and I'm going to show you that one again. Did this blanket. It's really pretty and it's beautiful. Look at this. You should give it a try. And what I want to do is make sure that when you do this blanket that you do all those little crossover stitches. Don't forget it. You don't want to have to rip it all out just because you've forgotten one of them. And it comes through right on the other side. I also did the really pretty border here on it as well, and that is really easy too. So what I want to say is just thank you very much for watching. Give this a try. Please try it. Also, if you click on that subscribe button, then you can subscribe to my channel. If you click on the bell icon, then YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon.